Welcome to the Deeper Thinking podcast. What if the very technology designed to free us is instead tightening control over our lives? In today's episode, we step into the shadowy corners of power in the digital age, where the promise of efficiency often masks a more complex and potentially troubling reality. Is technology truly a neutral tool, or does it embed and amplify existing power structures? What happens when the pursuit of streamlined governance undermines the very foundations of democratic accountability? And most importantly, how can we as citizens navigate this increasingly intricate web of control and ensure that our voices are not just heard, but matter? To unpack these urgent questions, we'll draw from some of the most incisive thinkers of our time. From Michel Foucault's theories of power to Cedar Wright Mills's power elite, and Sheldon Wolin's inverted totalitarianism, will explore how control operates in ways both seen and unseen. Later in the episode, we'll also examine how major tech corporations wield influence in ways even governments struggle to contain, and what that means for the future of governance, autonomy, and dissent. To dive deeper into the ideas and thinkers we discussed today, check out the episode description. There, you'll find links to further resources, book recommendations, and the episode webpage, where you can explore more content. If you value independent, long-form discussions that challenge mainstream narratives, consider supporting my work. Every contribution helps keep this space free from corporate influence. You can find the Buy Me a Coffee link in the episode description. Your support means the world and helps sustain this platform for critical thinking. Let's begin. What happens when the rhetoric of efficiency becomes a Trojan horse for centralized power? The spectre of concentrated control disguised as technological progress looms over governance. This isn't a theoretical concern. It's a lived reality unfolding in real time with profound implications for the fabric of democratic societies. The digital revolution, once heralded as a democratizing force, has in many cases become a tool for consolidating authority in the hands of a select few, blurring the boundaries between private enterprise and public governance. This phenomenon echoes C. Wright Mill's concept of the power elite, where economic, political, and military power converge, now with a distinctly technological inflection. The rise of tech billionaires, whose influence extends far beyond traditional business spheres, represents a contemporary manifestation of this elite, their power amplified by the very digital infrastructure that connects us all. Consider the recent restructuring of governmental agencies under the banner of modernization. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, ostensibly created to streamline bureaucratic processes, has instead become a focal point for power consolidation. Leaked internal documents, corroborated by congressional oversight committees and reported by The Guardian, reveal a systematic effort to centralize control, circumventing established democratic procedures. This mirrors what Sheldon Wolin in Democracy Incorporated warned against: the creeping encroachment of inverted totalitarianism, where power operates not through overt force, but through the subtle manipulation of administrative and technological systems. The language of efficiency and optimization serves as a smokescreen, obscuring the true power dynamics at play. The case of USAID, the world's largest humanitarian aid organization, offers a striking example. With an annual budget exceeding $41 billion, its reach extends to the most vulnerable populations across the globe. Yet its restructuring, dictated by directives from DOGE, raises urgent questions about accountability and transparency. Federal employees, speaking anonymously, describe a climate of fear where dissent is stifled and loyalty to the new order is paramount. This echoes Hannah Arendt's analysis of totalitarianism, the erosion of individual agency and the suppression of critical thought as prerequisites for maintaining power. The use of digital lockouts and administrative directives to enforce compliance exemplifies the subtle yet pervasive nature of this control. More troubling still is the shifting locus of authority. Government financial systems, managing approximately $6 trillion in annual payments, are now being entrusted to young engineers, some as young as 19. This transfer of power from seasoned civil servants to a technocratic elite reflects what Max Weber termed rational legal authority, now severed from its traditional institutional foundations. Instead, we see the rise of a new ruling class, not legitimized by democratic processes, but by technical expertise wielded without regard for its broader social and political consequences. Langdon Winner in The Whale and the Reactor warned of such developments. Technical systems, once established, shape political realities in ways that often evade public scrutiny. The recent resignation of the acting Treasury Secretary, followed by the removal of 2 senior USAID security officials, underscores the performative nature of power under this new regime. As Judith Butler argues, power is not merely possessed, it is enacted through ritualized displays and symbolic gestures. These removals send a clear message. Resistance will be met with swift and decisive consequences. This transformation of governance, driven by technological advancements and fueled by immense wealth, signals a paradigm shift. The traditional checks and balances of democratic institutions are being replaced by a more opaque and centralized form of control, one where authority is no longer exercised through laws and elected representatives, but through algorithms, administrative decrees, and digital infrastructure. If power is increasingly automated and centralized, who remains accountable? And more importantly, who gets to ask the questions that will shape our future? The entrenchment of corporate influence in governance is not a passive development. Regulators and policymakers, aware of the creeping consolidation of economic and political power, have attempted to push back, though their avenues for resistance are increasingly constrained. Internal reports and leaked memos, analysed by investigative journalists, reveal mounting frustration among public officials who see their role as stewards of the common good eroded by private interests. Yet, this resistance is fraught with systemic obstacles. The mechanisms designed to ensure oversight, independent regulatory bodies, legislative scrutiny, and public accountability are frequently weakened by lobbying efforts, revolving door appointments, and legal maneuvers that redefine public interest in corporate terms. Dissent within these institutions is often met with accusations of economic obstructionism or regulatory overreach, further marginalizing those who seek reform. This conflict underscores Antonio Gramsci's theory of cultural hegemony, in which dominant economic forces shape not only policy but also the very framework through which governance is understood and contested. The resistance within regulatory agencies, though fragmented and largely invisible to the public, represents a crucial challenge to the prevailing logic of market supremacy. It underscores the enduring relevance of counter-hegemonic struggles, where individuals and institutions seek to reclaim policymaking from the forces of capital. As Gramsci observed, power is not maintained solely through coercion, but through consent, manufactured via ideological apparatuses that normalize corporate prerogatives as synonymous with national progress. Compounding this dynamic is the deepening entanglement of public administration with private enterprise. The proliferation of public-private partnerships, corporate-backed think tanks, and industry-funded research institutions has created a policy-making ecosystem in which the distinction between public service and private interest becomes increasingly ambiguous. This reflects the concerns raised by Karl Polanyi about the commodification of governance, where democratic decision-making is subordinated to the imperatives of market efficiency and profit maximization. The result is a regulatory landscape where policy decisions are not merely influenced by corporate actors, but are often shaped to align seamlessly with their objectives, eroding the principles of democratic accountability and public welfare. The ongoing contest between regulatory integrity and corporate hegemony is not simply a technical debate about policy. It is a fundamental struggle over the nature of governance itself. The implications extend beyond economic regulation to the broader question of democratic legitimacy in an era of financialized power. The central question remains, can the forces advocating for public interest reclaim the regulatory space, or will the entrenchment of corporate dominance continue unabated, further consolidating control over the levers of governance? The events of recent weeks have laid bare a fundamental tension at the heart of modern governance, the conflict between efficiency and accountability. The drive for streamlined processes, spurred by technological advancements and the allure of data-driven decision-making, frequently comes at the cost of transparency and democratic oversight. While this tension is not new, the rise of digital technologies and the increasing concentration of power in the hands of tech-savvy elites have intensified the challenge, making it more urgent than ever. This crisis raises pressing questions about the future of democracy in the digital age. Can traditional democratic institutions designed for a slower, more deliberative era adapt to the rapid pace of technological change and the complexities of globalized networks? Or must new governance models emerge, ones that leverage technological efficiency while preserving democratic values? The stakes are high. Without meaningful adaptation, democratic processes risk becoming obsolete in the face of accelerating digital transformation. Philosopher Bruno Latour's actor-network theory provides a crucial lens for understanding this shift. Latour argued that technology is not a passive tool, but an active participant in shaping social and political relations. The digital systems underpinning modern governance are not neutral. They embed specific values, priorities, and power structures. Algorithmic decision-making, predictive analytics, and automated governance mechanisms do not simply optimize efficiency. They shape policy, influence public discourse, and determine access to resources in ways that often go unchecked. Recognizing the agency of technology is critical to ensuring it serves human needs rather than dictating them. Equally concerning is the erosion of public trust in information systems. The digital revolution has created an environment in which vast amounts of information are available at unprecedented speed, yet distinguishing fact from misinformation has never been more difficult. The proliferation of algorithmic filtering, social media bubbles, and AI-generated content makes it increasingly challenging to discern truth from falsehood, objective analysis from manipulation. As democratic participation becomes more intertwined with the digital realm, the ability to critically evaluate information, recognize biases, and question hidden agendas is no longer just an intellectual skill. It is a civic necessity. There are no easy solutions to the complex challenges at the intersection of technology, power, and governance. But what remains clear is that the future of democracy depends on our ability to engage in open, informed debate about these issues, to scrutinize the forces shaping our digital world, and to resist the unchecked consolidation of power. As technology continues to evolve, so too must our understanding of its political and social implications. The outcome of this struggle will define not only the structure of governance, but also the broader principles of justice and equity in the digital age. The unfolding events serve as a powerful reminder that democracy is not a fixed destination, but an ongoing process. The concentration of power, the erosion of accountability, and the blurring of public and private interests present serious challenges that demand our attention and action. We cannot assume that democratic institutions will safeguard themselves. Defending democracy requires vigilance, critical engagement, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Philosopher Cornel West argues that democracy is more than a set of procedures. It is a way of life rooted in justice, equality, and the common good. It calls for active participation, openness to diverse perspectives, and a commitment to finding common ground. Yet these democratic virtues are increasingly under strain as polarization deepens and meaningful dialogue becomes more difficult. The rise of digital technologies has expanded opportunities for participation, but has also amplified extremism and intolerance. Philosopher Martha Nussbaum highlights the need for empathy and compassion in the digital age, urging us to recognize our shared humanity. However, the digital landscape often rewards outrage over understanding, making it even harder to bridge the divides that threaten to fracture our societies. The struggle for democracy is not just political, it is a moral battle for the values we hold dear. Philosopher Slavoj Žižek argues that the true test of democracy lies in how we treat those who disagree with us. Yet, the increasing hostility toward dissent and opposition raises questions about whether democratic ideals can withstand the pressures they currently face. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, marked by deepening divisions and entrenched power structures resistant to change. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Deeper Thinking podcast, an audio essay read by me, Holly, your digital narrator. To learn more about the subjects covered today, check out the links in the show notes. Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep questioning. Until next time.